All right. Hello and welcome everyone back to my stream. Welcome back to the office. My name's Doña, aka Doña the Light, and I am your friendly neighborhood self-love coach. And today I'm here to talk about depression. If you are catching this live stream on Twitch, please feel free to contribute in the chat. This is a community conversation, and they always will be. And if you're catching this replay on YouTube, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's a great free way to support my channel, as well as, excuse me, if you're new here, this is essentially going to play out like a video podcast. I'm going to be working on moving these audios over to a regular podcast platform, but don't feel compelled to watch the video. It'll just be me here talking. Good morning, Shaka. Good morning, good morning. Happy beautiful Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about depression. Hi, Raylene, and good morning, Fergie. Hello, everyone. Welcome, my lovely, lovely people. My bad. So, I have recently started perusing the lands of Reddit, and of course I immediately went to their mental health, I don't know what it's called, Reddit subreddit, and there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of people in there. One thing I can definitely appreciate is that within that mental health Reddit or subreddit, people are definitely open to sharing what's going on with them, mostly when they're struggling. But there are instances of people sharing, little victories as far as I haven't self-harmed in this many days, I'm sober and clean for this many days, or, I just got up and I freaking showered today. I like saying stuff like that because it just helps normalize the regular, the regular everyday stuff that sometimes is not as easy as people feel like it is, you know what I mean? So in an effort to kind of honor what I've learned and read on Reddit so far, I wanted to talk about depression today. I feel like depression is I don't think we know enough about it, I think that if we haven't gone to speak to a mental health professional or someone specifically about depression, then often we don't know, we just don't know about it. I definitely feel like I feel like OCD is another good mental health disorder that should be spoken about more, like actual OCD, not this tendency to want to keep things neat, because that's not OCD. And I really wonder how that connection came to be. Right, Raylene says agreed. It's a very big, scary word with a lot of stigma. Exactly, it is. Why is my camera blurry? Fix it. There we go. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to watch like a 5-minute, excuse me. We're going to watch like a 5-minute TED Ed video. Let me link it here in the chat for y'all. And it is just called What is Depression? It's about, like I said, it's about 5 minutes. TED Ed. What is depression? So I'm going to pop it up. Oops. That's the link. I'm going to pop it up. I'm going to mute my microphone and pause the music, and then we're going to watch this, and then we're going to talk about it. So let me pull it up. There's the video right there. Let me pause the music, mute my microphone. All right, let's have a listen.
Depression is the leading cause of disability in the world. In the United States, close to 10% of adults struggle with depression. But because it's a mental illness, it can be a lot harder to understand than, say, high cholesterol. One major source of confusion is the difference between having depression and just feeling depressed. Almost everyone feels down from time to time. Getting a bad grade, losing a job, having an argument, even a rainy day can bring on feelings of sadness. Sometimes there's no trigger at all. It just pops up out of the blue. Then circumstances change, and those sad feelings disappear. Clinical depression is different. It's a medical disorder, and it won't go away just because you want it to. It lingers for at least 2 consecutive weeks and significantly interferes with one's ability to work, play, or love. Depression can have a lot of different symptoms: a low mood, loss of interest in things you'd normally enjoy, changes in appetite, feeling worthless or excessively guilty, sleeping either too much or too little, poor concentration, restlessness or slowness, loss of energy, or recurrent thoughts of suicide. If you have at least 5 of those symptoms, according to psychiatric guidelines, you qualify for a diagnosis of depression. And it's not just behavioral symptoms. Depression has physical manifestations inside the brain. First of all, there are changes that could be seen with the naked eye and X-ray vision. These include smaller frontal lobes and hippocampal volumes. On a more micro scale, depression is associated with a few things: the abnormal transmission or depletion of certain neurotransmitters, especially serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, blunted circadian rhythms, or specific changes in the REM and slow wave parts of your sleep cycle, and hormone abnormalities, such as high cortisol and deregulation of thyroid hormones. But neuroscientists still don't have a complete picture of what causes depression. It seems to have to do with a complex interaction between genes and environment, but we don't have a diagnostic tool that can accurately predict where or when it will show up. And because depression symptoms are intangible, it's hard to know who might look fine but is actually struggling. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, it takes the average person suffering with a mental illness over 10 years to ask for help. But there are very effective treatments. Medications and therapy complement each other to boost brain chemicals. In extreme cases, electroconvulsive therapy, which is like a controlled seizure in the patient's brain, is also very helpful. Other promising treatments, like transcranial magnetic stimulation, are being investigated too. So if you know someone struggling with depression, encourage them, gently, to seek out some of these options. You might even offer to help with specific tasks, like looking up therapists in the area or making a list of questions to ask a doctor. To someone with depression, these first steps can seem insurmountable. If they feel guilty or ashamed, point out that depression is a medical condition, just like asthma or diabetes. It's not a weakness or a personality trait, and they shouldn't expect themselves to just get over it, any more than they could will themselves to get over a broken arm. If you haven't experienced depression yourself, avoid comparing it to times you've felt down. Comparing what they're experiencing to normal temporary feelings of sadness can make them feel guilty for struggling. Even just talking about depression openly can help. For example, research shows that asking someone about suicidal thoughts actually reduces their suicide risk. Open conversations about mental illness help erode stigma and make it easier for people to ask for help. And the more patients seek treatment, the more scientists will learn about depression, and the better the treatments will get.
Brandon says, wait, did they check the brain in clinical examination for depression, or was that just explaining how it looks? I was thinking about that too. I don't know if that's like a typical procedure, or not procedure, but I don't know. I could ask, that's what I should have done. I could ask Diana, my bestie therapist bestie in training. I could ask her about that and find out a little bit more, because I saw that this is the second time I've watched this video, and I thought about that too. Like, is this typically the process? But I think maybe that was just for explaining purposes, or like educational purposes, to make it easier to tangibly or visually explain. But I'll definitely ask Diana about if there's a certain, there's probably some sort of like questionnaire or survey, as well as, of course, just gathering information from the patient about, you know, how they're feeling, what they've been feeling. Something that I wanted to share, though, was a friend of mine had been struggling with depression for longer than 2 weeks, and didn't really, she didn't realize it. What was happening was, I think there was something in her life that triggered it, similar to like postpartum depression. Like sometimes there are events that, when I had mine, it was just a questionnaire. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A questionnaire along with, I mean, I would hope that they would gather information about you, your life, you know, your regular, normal daily activities, via some sort of, like a questionnaire too, but I feel like me having someone read a question on a piece of paper, or maybe I'm reading it to them, I don't know. I feel like there are just certain things that can be gathered outside of the questions that might be asked on the questionnaire, you know, like, I don't know, because I don't know what's on the questionnaire. But a friend of mine was struggling with depression, and she didn't really recognize that she was, because the changes that happened in her life happened so gradually. And so it's really easy for depression to kind of sneak up on you, and for you to not even recognize, you know, that 2 week period has passed in which you could possibly be diagnosed with clinical depression. So consider this, you know, something happens, and let's say that it's a car accident. You know, let's say that you're involved in a car accident, and, you know, now you have to go through all the things that happen that you got to deal with after a car accident. You have to deal with insurance, you have to deal with, you know, possibly injuries, you have to deal with the other party if there is one involved, you know what I mean? So you're dealing with property, you're dealing with people, but you're also dealing with emotions, you know. Getting into a car accident causes an emotional toll on you as a normal human person. And it just might be that, you know, perhaps right before this car accident, you were laid off from your job. And then, you know, prior to that, your pet got sick or something like that. So this domino effect is now happening, and after your car accident, there are certain things that you probably won't be able to do because they require a vehicle. Like maybe you are very adamant about, not adamant, but consistently going to the gym, you know? Maybe you're consistently going to the gym and you were working out and you were, you know, going to a Pilates class or something, I don't know. Now you don't have a vehicle, so now that's something that you have to sort of struggle to figure out how to accomplish. Kelly Crocodile says, yeah, accidents always took me a lot to mentally recover. A chain of things would really affect most. Exactly, absolutely, right? And I don't think that that's spoken about enough at all, really. I mean, I don't really hear people asking about how someone is doing emotionally after a car accident. It's emotionally very taxing because you're in a situation where literally anything could happen. You know, you could get into a car accident, cars are stopped, you get out, walk away, and your car explodes. Like, think about the mental stress that would cause on you to think about, oh my goodness, I could have been in that vehicle when it exploded, you know, or when it caught fire or whatever. Kelly Crocodile says, actually, that's true. I've even had chiropractors offer to me, right, but never anything that had to do with my mental health. Exactly. So, issue number 938. But, so let's say, you know, to you guys' point, you get into a car accident, and this is another emotionally stressful event that has happened in your life. So, again, now we have this domino effect happening, and at no point in this domino effect happening have we had the opportunity to sit and pause and try to manage or cope or adjust to what we're feeling. We've just had to kind of keep on trucking along. So as I mentioned, now you don't have a vehicle, now you don't have a job, now you're struggling with, you know, your pet that's ill. You're unable to continue to go to the gym because you don't have a vehicle, and potentially because you don't have a job. Your focus is now switched to your pet who is sick and maybe is struggling or is just doing normal sick animal stuff. Maybe it's vomiting, or maybe it's having diarrhea. And now this is additional stress. Like, oh my goodness, now I have to clean up after this animal constantly. I can tell that my animal is in pain. I'm struggling to keep my home or whatever clean because my pet is sick, and so now it's creating super gross messes that are already emotionally taxing to clean up. Who wants to clean up puke? Nobody. That's the answer. Nobody does. Nobody. So all these things are slowly happening, and you don't recognize that 2 weeks have passed and you have not done a single thing that you have enjoyed previously. You haven't been to the gym. You haven't created any art. You haven't played any video games. You haven't done any of those things. And then slowly but surely you just keep falling deeper and sinking deeper into it. Now your focus is on other things. How am I going to pay bills this month? How am I going to get another job? How or when or is it possible for me to get another vehicle? Raylene says, I was in a really small car accident recently. I wasn't driving, and I had a lot of emotionally stressful chains of stuff going on. That crash really makes you stop and go, holy shit, I need to get it together, so that if something like this happens, I won't fall over the edge. Yeah. But the toughest thing about that, Raylene, is sometimes those things do snap us into reality the way that it did for you and make you feel very human and very mortal. Other times it pushes you the other way and makes you think, oh my goodness, if this is going wrong, like what else could go wrong in my life? So it really just depends on, I don't know if it depends on our mental state prior to, or if it depends on, you know what I mean, like what's happening around us. But it's difficult. Callie Crocodile says, the first couple times I got in an accident, I had really shaky hands, and it was really hesitant to make moves in the car. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's because, I mean, like, especially if you're not the one driving, right? Like, how do you cope and adjust to trying to be more of a defensive driver? Like, you know what I mean? Or how do you cope and adjust to you being in the vehicle with someone else and being in a car accident? Raylene says, I felt horrible first and was extremely mentally unstable, but with help from people around me, I saw it as a snap in place life moment. I feel that. But car accidents are really difficult. They're the only time I've been in one was literally a fender bender. It was like frustrating, but it wasn't. No, I've been in two. It wasn't really too much the first time. The second time was totally my fault. And I still haven't completely repaired my car from that second accident, but it's okay. Right, Raylene says, I'm so scared of driving now that I don't drive. And that's often what happens, right? Because I think that might be associated with PTSD, because now you have this, like, driving is a traumatic event or a traumatic situation. I guess it would be event. And so you avoid it because you don't feel in control. It scares the living daylights out of you. So you're like, why would I want to walk towards something that scares me? I'm going to just avoid it altogether. And gratefully, if you live in an environment in which you can avoid to drive by, taking public transportation or doing other things, and it's totally possible. Here in the area where we live in, it's not really possible to not drive. But, again, how do we, just like Callie Crocodile mentioned, after people have car accidents, I think it would be, better to normalize, like, trying to examine all parts of the person, mentally and physically. Because, again, it's one thing to have a chiropractor offer to you, but what about my mental health? Seriously. Raylene says, luckily the public transport is good in the UK, so I take the bus everywhere I walk. That's super dope. That's super dope. It's like that in some places here in California, but not in the area that we live in. Our buses are like every hour, hour and a half, and there aren't that many of them. Yeah, people should offer therapy for it, and I feel like that should be, excuse me, I feel like that should happen, I don't know, maybe from the insurance company. Like, maybe not necessarily they offer the therapy, or they pay for, I mean, they could pay for the therapy. Auto insurance is one of those things that we pay for every single month. It's a pretty significant amount, and regardless of what happens, we have to pay for it. Yeah, we gotta pay for it, Kairu. We gotta pay for it. It's true. It's true. And just imagine how much more accessible that would make mental health. Even if it was just an examination, even if after every car accident you were required to get a mental examination. Just imagine how much more accessible and how much more like normal it would be to not only just talk about your mental health, but for it to be a part of people's health that everyone actually cared about, you know, even though it's intangible. Raylene says, but talking about PTSD, depression is linked with so many other mental illnesses like anxiety, PTSD, and OCD. Absolutely. Absolutely. And those situations or those illnesses can either, well, I'm assuming that they could potentially manifest from depression or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like anxiety can cause depression, or PTSD can cause depression, OCD can cause depression. I could definitely see how those illnesses can cause depression. Absolutely. I can see how those illnesses can prevent you from, you know, living your normal daily life and doing things that you enjoy, preventing you or making it very, very difficult to remain present, present and grounded, and you know what I mean? Callie Crocodile says, yes, a lot of those different feelings hold hands in our head. There's definitely a fine line between being depressed and anxious and nervous and all kinds of things. Exactly. It's usually those illnesses causing depression from what I've seen. I could definitely see that. I could see how those illnesses could cause someone to be depressed. For sure, for sure. Kyrie, what are you doing? Yes. Usually a stack of feelings that result in depression. Absolutely. Kyrie, can you stop wiggling around? Could you just So we talked about what depression is. So how do you know if you're depressed? I would say first and foremost, there's the best thing you could possibly do is if you believe that you are wait, what? One of my Twitch friends is also streaming right now, and his title is Do It Now, Fight Depression. How awesome! That's awesome. Let me know what his what's his handle, or is it called a handle? I don't know. Twitch name, whatever. What up, Woozy? Good morning. This kid's eating the burp cloth. Oh, that baby is so adorable. Oh, he is. He's eating his burp cloth right now. Oh, he spit it out. He's chilling. He's big chilling. Kyrie, talk to the people. Mike the G's. Got it. Oh. 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 Mike the G's. I'm gonna follow him and pop into his stream. This baby is murking this pacifier. But anywho, if you feel, or if you, not only for yourself, but also for those around you. Tell DJ I said hello. I will love, but he's not here right now. He'll be home later. If you feel like you are struggling, or if you feel like someone else that you know is struggling, I feel like when it comes to depression, it's easier to recognize in other people than it is to recognize in ourselves, because it's tough sometimes for us to see our own situations objectively. But just have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Like, not in an effort to necessarily self-diagnose, but in an effort to better understand the symptoms, you know, because Just like, I mean, we do the same thing if we think like our finger or toe is broken, right? You hop on Google and you say, hey, Google, how do I know if my toe is broken? And Google might tell you, oh, you know if your toe is broken because, you know, the tip of your toe will turn purple, or, you know, you'll have extreme pain and, sir, you'll have extreme pain in you know, certain joints, et cetera, et cetera. And, yeah, and then we move forward from there and say, okay, maybe I need to go to the ER because I'm pretty sure my toe is broken. So just learn at least about the symptoms of it. Raylene says, one thing I wanted to share was in narcissistic family dynamics, people who survive that usually get depressed or usually get repressed anger due to having to suppress their emotions from their parents or whoever. From this, I've heard some therapists talk about depression being caused by repressed anger. Oh, I don't know if that meant all depression is that or if that situation is that, but I thought it was interesting. That is definitely very, very interesting because, yeah, I wouldn't expect for there to be a connection there. You know what I mean? Like, just thinking about it from an outside perspective, I wouldn't expect for there to be a connection between repressed anger and depression. But what's really interesting is, I think if someone is experiencing repressed anger from being in a narcissistic family dynamic or something similar, that they should really explore and try to name the emotions that they're feeling. You know what I mean? Like, perhaps there are other emotions that they are experiencing, like, maybe being, of course I can't think of any other emotions besides anger. Let me just pull up an emotion wheel real quick. So in addition to anger, they might also be feeling, they might be feeling lonely, they might be feeling disappointed, they might be feeling hurt, they might be feeling powerless, they might be feeling, this one's really small, comfortable emotions. Oh, your needs wheel. That's really cool. Okay. So let's see. Wow. This is like really. So under sad, we have depressed, hurt, I don't know what that says, bereft, melancholy, subdued, aggrieved, discouraged, bleak, despondent, deflated, injured, disconsolable, inconsolable, forlorn, sorrowful, gloomy, somber, agonized, desolate, small or broken. And then in our anger, we have offended, indignant, dismayed, bitter, frustrated, aggressive, harassed, bored, rushed. It's so interesting that bored is connected to anger. And then we have insulted, mocked, violated, outraged, let down, betrayed, resentful, jealous, annoyed, infuriated, hostile, belligerent, provoked, persecuted, apathetic, indifferent, pressured, and pushed. And then under alone, we have words like distant, excluded, fragile, abandoned, vulnerable, exposed, rejected, friendless, withdrawn, detached, isolated. We have forlorn again. This is, yeah. Oh. Kelly Crocodile says, depression definitely has different sides. And then Raylene says, there was a discussion with quite a few therapists talking about it, so it was interesting. Oh, okay, repressed anger directed at yourself. Ah, okay. That makes sense. And I feel like with that, there could also be some guilt. Yeah. There could be a lot of stuff associated with repressed anger directed at yourself, for sure. That's Ooh. Good morning, Lincoln. That is the most adorable email I've ever seen in my entire existence. Good morning, Lincoln. Lincoln, I feel like this is a commercial, but have you or anybody you know ever struggled with depression? I would like to know. Like, I know for a fact that I feel that my mom has been experiencing depression for a very long time. Primarily because she avoids feeling her emotions. I can't recall the last time I saw or heard my mom do anything that she actually enjoys. I don't even know what my mom does. Or, like, I don't even know what my mom enjoys. Raylene says, me and pretty much all my friends, everyone struggles with depression. Everyone struggles with depression, or everyone struggles with feeling depressed sometimes. Your mom's an extroverted introvert. She loves to be around her family. No, she don't. She complained about it the whole time. Because every time she's around family, she always finds something to nitpick at. But she also struggles with being honest with herself, and she knows that her family won't check her. That's the thing. They won't. Because they've probably done it before. Sir, are you eating my shirt? Why? Can I... Sir, are you hungry? I have food for you right here. I just got this shirt. Can you not eat it, please? Okay, thanks. Well, for being really honest, I started noticing that some of your aunts also carry the same type of traits as your mom. I've noticed that too. Very recently, I've noticed it. It's so interesting to see. Oh, you're sleepy. Oh. Jazz hands. Whoa. Okay, alright. Say goodnight, everybody. I'm gonna take a nap. 2% is right. He really wanted to eat my shirt. Say, I'm taking a nap, everybody. See you later. Alright, great chat. Which, based off that, makes me feel that this is something rooted past your mom. I agree. I absolutely agree. Lincoln says, everyone struggles with feeling depressed. I know there is a clinical difference, but in my opinion, depression is depression. I feel that. And it seemed like, Lincoln, based on the video that we watched, that the primary difference between one of the primary differences between feeling depressed and being depressed is the length of time. Like, if and when situations change, does that change your depression or not? I agree with that. I still get depressed. My episodes are so much shorter, but I still do, right? Bailey says the main difference is the time. Absolutely. But again, like I mentioned, we're very quick to hop on the internet and look for symptoms of things when it comes to physical ailments. Like, is my ankle strained, whatever? Is my arm broken? Not is my arm broken, that's something. I feel like fingers and toes are sometimes kind of difficult to tell if they're broken or not. Because, you probably stub your toe a lot, you probably hit your hand on stuff a lot, so it's just one of those kinds of things. But, I feel that people are a lot more likely to take action when it comes to those physical ailments. Why? Because how difficult would it be to hide that your finger is broken? Like, what kind of hoops would you have to jump through in order to prove, or in order to hide that your finger is broken? Whereas, if you wanted to hide that you were depressed, it would require a lot of energy and a lot of mental strain, but it would be a whole lot easier to do. Like, if and when you allowed yourself to even be around people, right? Because that's who you'd have to lie to. You'd have to lie to the people around you. And if, I don't know, it's difficult because sometimes that comes down to, like, people pleasing. Like, if I don't feel like people are going to be able to have a conversation with me, or just see me for who I am, or just accept me for being sad, then I'm going to do my best to not show them that I'm sad, to not show them that I'm depressed. Lincoln says, I don't get depressed. I know I am the reason why I create the parameters. So to be depressed, money, emotions. Thank you. So I made myself resilient to negative emotions through hobbies and socializing. Okay, Lincoln. Okay. Resilient to negative emotions. That doesn't mean you don't feel them. That could mean that you don't stay there. You know what I mean? But as long as you're feeling them and dealing with them when they do come along, then you're good. You know, because they're gonna come along. They're just going to. Raylene says hiding depression is like so easy if you're used to it, especially if you do it to make other people comfortable. Exactly, right? Because if you walk into a room and you actually are feeling depressed, and you bring it to people around you, and you've already struggled with people-pleasing tendencies, and it's going to be real difficult for you to not bend in whatever way based on how they react to you saying that you're depressed or sharing that you're depressed. So, again, reason number 962 why every single person on this earth needs a safe space to just exist. You know, every single person. Every single person needs a place in which they can unmask and just be whoever it is that they are at that moment. Kylie Crocodile says, depression is based off of things that require a mental state to be sound. I can almost say that I never get depressed, but that would be a lie because I have had depressed thoughts only to stare them back into my thought process. Megan says, of course, we are mental machines. We never get rid of trauma and negativity. Wow, that's a word. Negativity. We just find ways to harden ourselves or distract our brains. I think that I agree that we don't get rid of our trauma, but I definitely feel like we have the capacity to deal with it. And by dealing with it, I mean creating space? No. Dealing with it in a way that it no longer impacts you every single day of your life. There's still going to be situations and times in which it does impact you, but I feel like there's ways to confront it head on and I don't want to say make it smaller, but kind of make its impact on your life smaller. Callie Crocodile says, but speaking into existence that you don't get depressed is a great thing to do, right? Raylene says, sometimes the depression is so strong that I can't hide it, so I just be myself and people naturally give me space. And that's beautiful. If it's space that you need, then it's beautiful that they give you space. If it's not space that you need, then I know that you can communicate that to people who make you feel safe enough that, you know, I know that you want to give me space right now, but I actually need, you know, a hug or whatever. Kelly Crocodile says, no, I don't distract my brain. I think through everything until I understand it. I found a way to process emotions before responding to them. Raylene says, what do you mean by harden and distract? Well, maybe I'll ask, how do you deal with your negative emotions, Lincoln? Kelly Crocodile says, I find my triggers so that I understand my triggers, and once I'm just in my triggers, they don't really trigger me. Trigger. Because I'll find out why it triggered me and the root cause of the emotion coming up, right? You can't eat this, baby. It's like, give me what you have. I do that too. It helps a lot. I look at emotions like alarm bells. Absolutely. All of our emotions harden by making yourself resilient, by making yourself less prone to react to depressing emotions. Distract by doing things to get your mind off of the depressing emotions. I use hobbies and friends as a way to deal with depressing emotions. Okay. I tried to do that while I actually rather hit thought and depression trigger head on. Yeah, when I was struggling right after I had the baby with what I'm assuming was postpartum depression. Similar to what Kelly Crocodile said, I had to hit it head on. Like, I have to confront it. Like, I have to, as difficult as it is, I have to like sit with it and be uncomfortable for a day or two or three and almost like ruminate on it. I have to like really get into it and figure out not just what's causing it, but what's the solution. Like, is it caused by something in my environment? Is it caused by something internal? You know, what is actually causing it? And if and when I experience this again, how am I going to manage it the next time? Because obviously this ain't it, you know. So how can I change the way that I confront it? How can I change my expectations? How can I, you know what I mean? Lincoln says, I also have a temporal mindset about life, so I don't waste time thinking about things I either can't change or require too much luck to change. That makes sense. But I definitely believe that anything that I'm experiencing in my body, I can change. Because me experiencing something means that I'm responding to something a certain way. For example, let's say, for example, that I had a baby with cerebral palsy, right? Who had difficulty communicating, who had difficulty moving, etc., etc. And of course, this is just my assumption because I don't have a child with cerebral palsy. But as a mother, I could absolutely see how having a child with cerebral palsy would cause me to feel very depressed because, there's a part of myself that would think, what did I do during my pregnancy to cause my baby to be born this way? And then I would think, oh my goodness, my baby is struggling. My child is struggling to cope and adjust to life's just like regular, normal, everyday things like going down the street or traveling or taking public transportation or whatever, because they can't do it the way that most of society can in an acceptable, easy, smooth way. So that I could see cause me to feel depressed or feel guilty, maybe even some grief, you know? And so those are feelings and emotions that I would have to confront head on and say, why am I feeling this way? And take a moment to step out of myself and look at the situation objectively. You know, what is it that's making me feel the way that I feel? Well, primarily it's my expectations and my belief of what a good life or a good whatever looks like, right? So now I'm essentially judging my child and their experience and their life and making it about myself because I don't want them to suffer, even if I know for a fact that they're not suffering. You know what I mean? If I know for a fact that they're not in any pain, they just are differently abled and are experiencing life the way that they're just going to experience life, then that's something that I have to fight within myself. You know what I mean? Because there's no amount of guilt or tears or anything that would change my child's situation. You know what I mean? So it's my mindset and my beliefs and my expectations that I have to confront and adjust in order to move forward with being able to just meet my child where they are and actually have a relationship with them. Kelly Crocodile says, I don't believe there's anything in life I can't change. Right, so much is my perspective on it. Exactly. Raylene says, does anyone feel that they have a limit on feeling uncomfortable and negative? Because I do confront and research my own emotions and my feelings. It's draining though, and sometimes I need to feel happy again as relief. But I always end up staying happy afterwards. For me, I can't constantly be depressed for more than 3 to 5 days. Oh no. Otherwise, oh no. I feel that, Raylene. And I would challenge you to think about, like, is it happiness that you have to feel, or is it just something other than low? You know, like, do you just need to move to a place almost of neutrality, or like get back to your baseline in order to give you a little more mental juice to continue to deal with whatever it is that you're confronting? Because I definitely agree that confronting those emotions is mentally taxing. And if all you're doing is continuously draining yourself by dealing with those emotions, you know, you no longer will have the mental energy or capacity to continue to deal with them. And I think that's where, you know, people kind of slip into depression and don't recognize it. Kylie Crocodile says, yeah, I'm barely in this body. I'm definitely a good observer within the show. I go through a lot of thoughts, depression, stress, but I usually untangle all of that as a knot with my desire to understand. I love figuring out my triggers. I highly love having control of my emotions. Raylene says, yes, your perspective and expectations actually do a lot. I never knew expectations would be such a huge impact on your mental state. Exactly. Lincoln says, I agree in terms of the abstract physical things that could trigger depressing emotions like poverty, death, or environmental things about you yourself cannot do anything about. I truly love to feel, says Kelly Crocodile. Yeah, it doesn't have to be happiness, but it needs to be a baseline or any other emotion. I feel that. Because for those days, it will be fully sad or whatever it is. I got you. Lincoln, thank you for feeding Symphony. Kelly Crocodile says, a lot of that stuff doesn't affect me. I believe that contrast has to exist, therefore poverty has to exist. To me, death is another transition, therefore I'm usually way happier than sad. I was sad when my brother-in-law passed away for about a week and a half. The environment that I'm in definitely can be depressing. However, since my reality showed me to use my legs, I kind of changed the situation either in my head or physically. I feel that. But I mean, babe, we were just talking about last weekend or the weekend before, having a tough time understanding and managing the trigger with our daughter, you know, with her lying all the time over little stuff. This is very triggering because there are certain things that we expect out of children on a different level than a child level, if that makes sense. Lincoln says, I feel that is a very individualistic way of looking at things. Yeah, I agree. It's based off my experiences. The connectiveness with others can also trigger depressing emotions that you can't simply, just move them as well. Right. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to these depressing emotions is that emotions are meant to be felt, even if they're uncomfortable. They're meant to be felt because they're communicating something to us. They're communicating a need of ours that is not being met. Oh, individualistic, not with your experiences, individualistic as in you aren't considering the connectiveness with others. I feel that. But, emotions are meant to be felt. They're there to, they are ways that our internal self is communicating with us. And if all we can do is say, I don't want to feel that, so let me move on, I feel like it's going to come back. Or it's going to start to manifest into physical ailments, like losing your hair, or not sleeping well, or like having stomach aches, having headaches, having joint pain, etc., etc. The Crocodile says, I have a high connectedness with others. I think maybe the way that I view that physical spiritual reality is that it helps me understanding that I have to have certain understanding of myself in order to understand others. Lincoln says, i.e. your mom could be in a huge negative headspace that could be draining to you. You could either ignore it, help her, even if she doesn't budge, for example. Kelly Crocodile says, I'm very selfish, me and my mind before others. Backyard Garden Joe says, I feel like depression is your body saying it's tired of being this character we created to please the world. Yo, that's huge, Backyard Garden Joe. I feel that. And I think that goes back to what Raylene and I were talking about in regards to the people pleasing, right? Creating this character essentially, or wearing this mask to appease everyone else instead of actually being all the colors and all the feelings that we actually are. Pat Crocodile says, yes, absolutely true. My mom is draining to me. Because she can be being a therapist. That training feeling for me doesn't feel like a negative energy so much as energy transfer that I could either decide to continue to absorb or cut off. Right. And Raylene says, this is a weird connection, but this kind of reminds me of in Aladdin how you can only grant yourself wishes that aren't controlling other people's emotions or thoughts. The wishes are kind of like things you can physically do with the perfect scenario or environment, like having enough money to buy whatever you want or being skilled enough. They're all technically things you can do yourself. I feel that. I think that was a really good connection, Raylene. And that's true. It's absolutely true. Like, yeah, you can't make people fall in love with you, you know, et cetera, but like, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to wish for yourself to be in your dream job. You know what I mean? Because again, those are things that we have control over, that we actually can do. That might take longer than we want them to, but these are things that we can actually work towards, and, you know, goals that we can actually accomplish. I feel that. I feel that. Yes, you can. Like, as limiting as I've been to myself, I am now finally walking in my purpose and working my dream job. I wouldn't call it a job. I would call it a heart-based business. But yeah, and I have been my primary hindrance, my mental belief in myself, and my mental aversion to doing things that are difficult. And it's so interesting because there are things that are physically difficult and there are things that are mentally difficult. And things that are mentally difficult are so much harder to convince yourself to continue to do. Like, I can totally convince people to not only go to the gym, but continue going to the gym, regardless of the fact that they can physically feel the pain in their body. But convincing someone that they should continue to lean into emotion because it doesn't feel good, that feels like death. Callie Crocodile says, truth be told, I'm very particular around who can even be in my energetic space. You absorbed everything? Yeah. Raylene says, same. It's a self-sabotage that can really be your worst enemy. I'm so proud of you for doing your dream job. It's wonderful. Oh, thank you, Raylene. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. But yeah, it's been me saying, like, I don't think I can do that. That don't seem realistic. Because when it comes to the mental stuff, again, it's intangible. So how often do you see, or how could you actually illustrate somebody overcoming mental barriers? Oftentimes when people illustrate someone overcoming mental barriers, it's through some sort of physical manifestation. This person, I don't know, was an Olympic weightlifter, and they went to a competition, and, you know, they tried their first lift and they failed, and then they adjusted their mindset, and now look at them. You know what I mean? Like, it's through some sort of physical manifestation. It's not just, and this is somewhat a physical manifestation of me going from, you know, working previous jobs to now walking in my purpose in my dream job. But I don't know. I guess there always has to be some sort of physical manifestation, huh? Because that's what our mindset allows us to do. That's what our mental state allows us to do, is physically manifest the things that we want. Kelly Crocodile says, I'm extremely proud of you, my love, for moving within your position and lane and making one. Because there is no one for you. It motivates me to push myself every time. Oh, thank you. Kelly Crocodile says, mental manifestation and acting on it to put it into the physical world, right? I know, right? No one explains the adjust your mindset part or just change your perspective. Exactly. Like, what did that look and feel like? What was that process like? It's often just like, this happened and then bam. Which kind of illustrates to other people that it's easy, and it's not. It's not. Our minds are responsible for so much of our, everything. Things that we don't even recognize. Like, think about the things that you just do on autopilot. Like tying your shoes. Your brain is still telling you how to tie your shoes, but it's not an active thought because you've done it so many times that it's automatic. Just like the fact that you're breathing and that your heart is beating. Your brain is telling your organs to do these things, but you don't hear your heart. You don't hear it in your head every single time. Beat, pump, you know what I mean? Like, that's not happening. Or for your lungs to do their job, or for your intestines to do their job, or for your muscles to do their job, or your bones, or not your bones, etc., etc., etc. Callie Crocodile says, a lot of times people hear that motivational speakers and stuff, but they don't want to hear it because a lot of people want to stay in the feelings they have, or stay in the feelings that they're in, so that they have an excuse for why they didn't go for what they wanted or try to manifest something. Absolutely. But the BAM is 10 years long. But the BAM was the hardest thing you've ever gone through. No one talks about that. Exactly. I changed my mindset and BAM. 25 years later. It's true. It's so true. That's so funny. Backyard Garden just like, I realized how powerful my mind is when the shit I didn't want but noticed I focused on came to pass. I'm like, oh shit, self-sabotage magic. What the hell? Exactly. Right. The slow BAM. 10 years long BAM. That's like BAM. But saying it like that doesn't make a good story. Right? And welcome in, Loki Human. How you feeling? Michaela, how are you, my love? It's been a while. How are you feeling on this fine Sunday? Sunday. Yeah. It's true. I'm doing well. That's beautiful to hear. Have you eaten today? If not, what are you going to eat today? Callie Crocodile made me breakfast, so I'm munching on it. It's delicious as per usual. Loki Human says, doing good. Just gone grocery shopping 30 minutes before the shop's closing. Ooh, I'm so glad you survived. Good job. Wait, are you a Brit? Ooh, I had 2 burritos. Loki Human, are you a Brit? Answer quickly. It's important. We need to know. 2 burritos sounds amazing. I'm so glad that you've eaten, Michaela. But how have you been? Michaela, where in the world are you? What time zone are you in? Yes, it's little, closing at 5 p.m. I'm an American. Ex-Brit. You are not an ex-Brit. Twice removed. Oh, Michaela's on the East Coast. Okay, cool. So it is 11 a.m. for you. That's beautiful to know. Okay, cool. Right, not the ex-Brit. Oh my goodness. Twice removed though. Don't forget the twice removed. That's the important part. But it can be kind of daunting once we really recognize how powerful our mindsets are. And how they literally not only shape our actions, but shape our words, shape the way that we show up in the world, like shape the version of ourselves that we let people see. Also, people have a hard time believing that it's as simple as something that's not as simple sometimes. Because something being simple and something being easy are 2 completely different things. Simple just means that they're there are a small number of steps. Ease is the level of difficulty in completing those steps. What am I eating? I'm eating potatoes. I'm eating potatoes and bell peppers with ketchup. Don't judge me. I like ketchup. Grover hates that I love ketchup, but it's okay. He said ketchup is for babies. I'm like, it is, and I'm a baby. I got Coop groceries earlier on Deliveroo, because who would be walking or driving to the store? Not me. You go, boo. You go. Michaela likes ketchup. Michaela, we best friends now. We besties. I never said that. Yes, you did. Fair. I kind of like grocery shopping because walking burns calories, so I can eat more later. Milky human, you're not wrong. Frankie said, I had potatoes and onions this morning. Winning. Ketchup slaps. See, look, me and Raylene are the same person. I don't think y'all know. Me and Raylene share a birthday. And that makes us the same person. So there you go. It just, we also both love ketchup. So there you go. There you go. Don't tell my real twin, but do you like hot sauce though? I don't. Cali Crocodile is the hot sauce man in the science, exactly. Cali Crocodile is the hot sauce person in our relationship. Yeah, he loves not only hot sauce, right, both like maths, exactly. We are the same person. We are the same person. Making ketchup? How do you make ketchup? Wait a minute, Backyard Garden Joe. Is that a thing? I need to know. I like peppered ketchup or jalapeno ketchup. Sure you do. Sriracha slaps. Look, I don't like nothing spicy. Well, you know what? I'll dabble a little bit in some spice every now and then. Bacon and hot sauce, please. Yeah, Cali Crocodile loves peppers. From Garden Tomatoes. Backyard Garden Joe, we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about a ketchup recipe because I have never even thought about. Yes, please. Making my own ketchup? I'm down. I'm super down. I made hot sauce last year. Fergie says, I like food. Same. This baby is asleep. He is drooling and everything. Oh, he's not drooling, just kidding. Fergie got the whole genre. Right. Exactly. Right. Cali Crocodile's a great cook. He said, if you come to California, I'll cook for you, Fergie. He will. Low-key human says, I like food. I like it so much, I usually eat food with food. But bring some Carolina Reapers. Fergie is in Virginia. They got Carolina Reapers out there. Carolina Reapers are, I don't even know. I don't want to know. I just, look, how we always get off topic at the end of the stream. Y'all are doing this on purpose. I will find a way to be there tomorrow. Oh my goodness. That is so funny. I feel it, Fergie. Ferg. Let's do it. We just hungry. You right. It's that time of the day, you know what I mean? Aw, it's because we don't want you to leave. I was going to go get my nails done, but I should have went yesterday. What if a Carolina Reaper helps with depression? But let's talk about it real quick, though. Because what's the correlation between eating good food and the way that you feel. Burn the depression out. Peppers do get you high based off the capsaicin amount. I'm so done. Babe, that is not what we're talking about. Kelly Crocodile. We ain't talking about that. But for real, you can look it up. I believe you. I'm just saying. What's the correlation? What's the first thing you do? Or what's one of the first things you do? I'll be getting high. What's one of the first things you do when you're not feeling good? Raise your hand in the chat if you eat your feelings. Right. Right. I eat my feelings. Eating emotions is dangerous. It could be. Eat food. Raylene said when the food is so good it hits your soul, it fixes everything in life. I'm verb fat, so yeah, include me. What? What is verb fat? Megan, what does that mean? What? Verb fat isn't noun fat. Backyard Garden Joe says, I don't eat when I'm emotionally uncomfortable. What's verb fat? I'm in the act of being fat, but not fat. Cali Crocodile eats a lot when he remembers to eat. Sometimes he just be up here. And I have to like bring him food. I'd be like, yo, take a break. Go eat some food. But he does eat a lot. It's really funny. Like he'll come home from work and he'll eat like dinner. And then like 30 minutes later he has like a whole other. I'm like, what did you even... Really? Y'all got that artist stuff in you. I definitely feel like creative people, when they get into that zone, can very easily forget to eat. For sure. Mm-hmm. He just forgets because he doesn't like stop. My brother makes me that curry. Ooh, wait a minute. That curry? Let's talk about it. Wait a minute. I have to make her in a while. I'm gonna make some curry. Curry time. I will sacrifice my body for a beat. I would say that it's like right, I don't eat all day if I'm in the flow of a song. Exactly. There are certain things that if I'm feeling some type of way, I'd want to eat. Usually it's sweets. But that's not a good it's not a good habit. Fergie says, I'm coming to all your houses. Come through, Fergie Ferg. We got you. Come through. Cali Crocodile said, I started realizing that I literally put my body through hell in order to do something I wanted to do. Because I'm that detached from myself sometimes. Yeah. Once he gets into that flow, he's not in his body. He's in his mind and that's it. Elaine says, seriously, no, nothing can get in the way of the flow. I'm sitting in that chair all damn day. Right. Right. I feel it. I remember before Kyrie was born, I would want to like do these really long streams, and then I would sit down and start playing World of Warcraft, and then like immediately would get sleepy. Uh-oh, time to go chase the baby. Be right back. Okay, Fergie Ferg. Good luck, Fergie. Okay, y'all. We're going to wrap it up. It's been a wonderful conversation. For those of you that came in later, we watched this video on what depression is. A TED Ed video. Here's the link to that video that we watched earlier. It's like 5 minutes. It's a really good video, very informative. Peace, Backyard Garden Joe. Thank you all for being here, contributing to the conversation. I love you and I appreciate you. If you'd like to support me, period, in ways that require money, purchase some merch. I'm also thinking about adding my jewelry that I've created. I've made a lot of jewelry, and I had it in a shop before, but so I might do that because I can't go to the nail shop today. I'll have to go another day. But I might do that. I might take some photos and put those in my Etsy shop. But yeah, right now I have lots of apparel. I'm wearing one of my shirts, but the baby's asleep, so I can't stand up. Any waist beads? I don't have waist beads, but I'd be down to make some just for you. Jewelry, it's a multi-talent for me. When does it end? Yeah, I make rings. I make necklaces and pendants. Yeah, I started making the jewelry a long time ago. I would wire wrap. I work with copper, and then I like wire wrap stones, like healing stones. So those will be up soon. I miss her waist beads. What? Since when? When was you gonna tell me this? No, you lying. You see, he be telling y'all stuff, and he'll be telling me nothing. Yeah, give us jewelry. Yes, ma'am. Share. Okay, I'll post it up today, I promise. I'll do a right meow. What? Right. You don't tell me nothing, Kelly Crocodile. Anyways, it's been real. It's been fun. I love all of you. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free, y'all. It's free. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I will see y'all back tomorrow. I love you all. Have a beautiful Sunday. For those of you overseas in the UK, get some rest. Have a great evening. For those of you here in the US, either on the East Coast or the West Coast, have a great rest of your day. Look at my cute little emo. I'm so cute. Look at me. I thought Kyrie was sleeping. Now he's like kind of waking up. Oh, baby. Well done on your streaming. I know, right? I'm still on my streaming streak. Okay, my loves. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow.